ahead breaking it down, cutting the oil filter, and this is where I had the first sign that something wasn't right. There's a bunch of glitter in the filter, chunks, and just signs that the motor was hurt. When I brought it to the house after I moved to Texas, it didn't sound very good. It wanted to stall, so I knew it was time to investigate what was happening with the car. So we're gonna go ahead and drop the oil pan right now. Man, as I'm editing this video, I'm realizing this background music sounds an awful lot like that game Pocket Tanks. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep on using this in the future. And what we find in the bottom of the pan is a bunch of sludge. If you noticed in the brake upgrade videos, the motor's not in the car. So the motor came out before I started doing the brakes, but I wanted to do the brakes while the motor's out of the car, and it was, frankly, just a lot easier to work in the engine bay. So right now I'm at 480 subscribers. What do y'all think about doing a giveaway, like a sticker pack or something like that, to get to 500 subscribers? Let me know what y'all think in the comments there. So go ahead and pull in some rod and main caps, and I'll show you later when I get them all out, but they looked like shit. The old standby of do the scratches catch a fingernail, and the answer is yes. They did. All the bearings looked like the sand was in the oil, so decided to tear it further down and see what else needed to come out. I've been thinking about doing merch, like maybe stickers with the logo, or maybe a t-shirt with like the car doing a wheelie on it. What do y'all think about that? Is that something y'all be interested in, or not? I mean, I'm nobody special. I just did drag week once and haven't been cool since then, so let me know. Taking off the coil packs and taking off the second valve cover now. Coolant crossover comes out. And now taking the manifolds off. Another trick that I picked up oftentimes is to put the bolts back in where you took them out from. So if you were watching when I pulled the manifolds off the heads, those manifold bolts went back on. The old speed wrench comes in clutch when taking fasteners out or putting them in. It seems to be a lot faster than doing it with the old ratchet, and I'm not completely sold on using an impact or like an air or electric ratchet to assemble things or disassemble. So now taking out the rockers, checking them out, and they all look pretty fine. Getting a lot of Facebook messages, so that's probably Ace asking a million questions on how to put a Terminator on an LS. Backing off the head bolts now. It's a lot of fun. This engine stand likes to move around a lot. The good old Harbor Freight unit there. So LS Fest was this last weekend, and my good friend Steve, some of y'all might know him as Expendable, he went out there and he made a pretty good showing. If you don't know, he just put a new motor and switched from carburetor to Holley Terminator, so pretty good deal for all the changes he made in the last 2 years. Checking out cylinder heads, pistons, they all looked pretty clean. Not too much carbon. Probably has something to be said for running a few tanks of E85 through it. Do y'all like these time-lapse videos that I do, or would you rather me sticking a cell phone in the Holley Pro Dash videos? Let me know in the comments what you think. Hey, if there's anything else you'd like to see, let me know also. I could do a video on something. So here we go, checking this head out, and same with the pistons, and same as the other side, everything looked fine. These gaskets have been on and off the motor between this and the LS1 a few times, and they didn't come out quite right this time, so they're going to get replaced. Taking the studs out and bagging everything up. Little tip that I picked up back in high school: bag all your fasteners. Doesn't matter how good you think your memory is, you're never going to remember where they all go, especially because usually things don't go back together the same day. If it's going to be a few days, in some cases a few weeks or months, you might not remember. Don't forget to check out the parts made by guys that make this stuff fun, like Motion Raceworks, promo code Tyler Needs a Puppy, and Low Dollar Motorsports. They make this stuff fun, guys. Alright, I'm checking out the lifters now, and before you say anything about me using pliers to pull them out, remember that I cut off a finger, and it doesn't work real good anymore to grab things, especially having to reach and grab things with my fingertips. As someone once said, I can only count to 9 3/4 now. So taking the starter off, putting a little flywheel holder deal in, and backing off those bolts on the damper. Trying to take the damper bolt out, and you see it took the impact to get it out. So now another trick that I have is I have a stock damper bolt that I ground the flange off of so that you can use pretty much anybody's damper removal tool. So what that allows you to do is the damper will pass cleanly off of the bolt. Taking off the timing cover now, and this is where the first sign of damage really showed itself. You can see there that the camshaft bolts were digging into the timing cover, and that the cam gear itself was completely loose. The bolts had backed themselves out about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. My theory is that the camshaft was walking back and forth, as evidenced by the bolts digging in, and that's what was causing my issues with dropping spark. As for the cause, I'm pretty sure it's because I didn't use Loctite, and the two-step being fairly violent back those bolts out. Here we're coming up on some more damage as I take the flex plate off, and one of the flex plate bolts was broken off in the crank. I did use Loctite on that, so I'm at a loss for why that bolt broke. Okay, and now it's time for the pistons and rods to come out. Facebook notifications. Messenger. And here we go, second verse, same as the first. And I'm seeing that they're all looking pretty much the same, so I'm just going to pile them up over on the flip top workbench with the drill press on it, and I'll show you all later. Right, by now you're probably wondering what I'm going to do as far as fixing this or whatever. I made a call to Texas Speed, and they are building me a 5.3 right now. This motor will probably go to a local engine builder and have better parts, but not the forged Texas Speed stuff go into that, and this will be a backup motor for either the car or the daily driver, whichever one needs it first. Alright, let's take a sip of Crown as we take a pan shot over the crank and the rods, and you can see that all of those nice scratches in the crank, and as we pan over to the pistons and rods, how those bearing shells look extremely similar. Some of you guys have commented you think I sound a little bit like Kenny Powers. First off, f*** you, that's funny. But I've never watched Eastbound and Down, so I might have to add that to the list. I am trying really hard not to be an asshole to you guys, so please work with me here. Now that we've seen what all the rod journals and rod bearings look like, let's move on to the crankshaft main bearings. Go ahead and zip all these little doodads out, and then we can take a look and then pull the crank out. How does a ask me anything type sitch go? Y'all wanna hear my views on the world? If so, let me know. If not, say nothing. Oh, and we can't forget the rear cover that needs to come off as well. That was a lot of fun with the engine stand adapter on there that bolts straight to the bell housing bolts on the back of the block, but we got them all out. I think I'm mostly just trying to fill the gaps in this voiceover in between the gaps from when I'm trying to actually tell y'all something about what I'm seeing and tearing down this motor. Okay, so while I'm taking these main caps off, I just want to say thanks for watching, especially if you've stuck around for the better part of 11 minutes watching me tear this motor down. It means a lot to me. Go ahead, and if you haven't already, go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the things. OnlyFans, it's $5 a month, and it's $10 for me to keep the clothes on. Now that all those bearing caps are off, let's take a look at the crank, and guess what? They look the same as the rest of them. So, looking forward to the Texas Speed motor coming in and getting back on the road with this.